everybody. Welcome back to the Brandy Yvonne channel. Of course, I'm your girl, Brandy Yvonne. This is the channel where we just do fun and interesting reviews and recaps of our favorite shows. So far, we have discussed Ready to Love and Ladies Who List Atlanta. Today, we're going to be talking about the hit premiere of the Kings of Napa, which premiered tonight on the OWN network, y'all. Okay. So just to give a quick disclaimer, this is like the third or fourth time I've tried to record this video tonight. Had a lot of hiccups and everything, but hopefully we get through it. I have to get up really early because I'm a teacher, so this may not be as long as I wanted it to be, but we're just gonna get through it and do it, okay? Also, I live like maybe an hour or a little over an hour away from Napa, so this is exciting to see like a Black-owned Napa vineyard. So I was really excited about the show just on that premise alone. Plus I love seeing Black rich people on the screen. Okay, I love a show with some Black rich people. Okay, so anyway, let's get into it. So we have Reggie King. He's the dad. He's the one. He was a Black surgeon. He purchased the winery. Okay, and then you have his wife Vanessa. I believe she used to be like an actress or something, and she says she gave up her whole career to support her husband, which a lot of us women do, right? I haven't done that yet, but a lot of women do it, right? So anyway, when they have their kids, Dana King, he is the CFO. He's married to Rose King. She is the PR person for the company. And then also they have August. She helps run the company as well. She's like the main character of the show, right? And then we have their youngest son, Christian King, okay? And he's managing of the bottling facility, I believe, and then he has like a bourbon distillery. And so, or like, it's like a tasting room or something. So anyway, then they also have Bridget there, and Bridget is in charge of like the harvesting and stuff. Okay, so Bridget, right now, in the beginning of the show, they only know Bridget to be their cousin. Okay, so keep that in mind, y'all. So anyway, August is trying to get the family together because they have their family dinners. I'm assuming it's like a Sunday dinner or something. I don't know. Anyway, she going around with her cute little yellow glasses on. She go get 12 pounds of oxtails. I said, you know they got money for 12 pounds of oxtails. Y'all know how expensive oxtails are? Anyway, I want me some oxtails so bad now, too. And she got some pecan pies. Do y'all say pecan or pecan? Anyway, so they get the family together, have family dinner. So August has the idea that to move the company into the future, make the company some more money. So she's like, how about we get into dessert wines, y'all? And Dana's like, no, they don't have great profit margins. And August says, well, yeah, we can, all these companies and restaurants here are using the European dessert wines for their restaurants, and it's expensive because of the taxes and the tariffs. Like, why don't us as a local winery provide them with the dessert wines? And Bridget was like, yeah, we could use the Grenache grapes in the back of the vineyard and nobody's checking for it, right? And so then Dana's like, nah, like you just be trying to cost dad and the company money. Like, nah, we're not checking for that. So then dad's like, we will think about it. Like, let's consider it. August has great ideas. So then Dana and August, they have like a sibling rivalry. They get to arguing and fussing. The dad started having a heart attack, okay? And I believe it was said that he had heart troubles in the past. So basically he falls out and dies. He's dead, okay? And I'll always be killing the daddies. They killed the dad on Queen Sugar in like the first couple episodes. They killed the bishop on Greenleaf. At least he didn't die till the end. So anyway, so the Reginald is gone. Okay. So, they got the funeral. His sister Yvette comes. She also is like a main character of the show as well. She had some good, funny one-liners. Shout out to her. Shout out to the cast and producers and the writers. They were really having a good time live tweeting with everybody on Twitter and interacting with everybody. So shout out to them. It was really fun watching the show and tweeting and interacting with them. I really enjoyed their presence there. And so anyway, so they had a funeral, they like, dang, dad is dead. They just can't believe it. Of course, they're devastated, They wasn't like falling out, crying, grabbing in the casket or nothing, but they was definitely sad and devastated, right? So then, I believe we get to the reading of the will. So the reading of the will goes, They left Christian some money to work on his distillery and some other money or something. And then Bridget gets like a big old lump sum of money, I believe. She gets and a raise. And then Rose will remain the PR person as long as she remains married to Dana. Dana, you will remain the CFO. And August becomes president of the King Winery, right? So, of course, that pisses Dana off because he felt like it should have been him, right? Because he's like the oldest son. So then they get into it a little bit. Oh, and then his sister Yvette, he made her like VP of sales because she owns a hair company and he wants her to do for the King company what she did with her hair company, okay? So she was real happy about that. So then Vanessa's sister Melanie comes, and I was calling that lady Melody on Twitter, y'all. Forgive me. I get Melody and Melanie confused, and I'm not good with names, okay? Even on Love is Marriage Huntsville, I'd be calling that girl Melody and Melanie. So anyway, so then Melanie comes like, oh, hey, Vanessa girl, like, I was trying to get the plane from here and there, but I made it. And so then she's like, oh, what are you guys doing? And you're like, oh, we're reading the will. Like, girl, go fix yourself a plate while we finish this up. And she's like, well, oh, y'all doing that now? Like, y'all talking about money? She's like, well, I got some money problems I need to talk to you about right now. And she's like, okay, can this wait? And she's like, well, we need to talk about it now. And then she was like, can I talk to you in the hallway? And so Vanessa's like, no, like, you just say right here. She's like, I think we need to go in private, girl. And she's like, no, we're family. Like, anything you want to say here, you can say here, you know? And so then she's like, okay, well, Reggie borrowed like $10 million from me a couple years ago because, you know, I got the money from my pharmaceutical settlement. I believe Melanie's a doctor, too. And just like Reginald was. So anyway, and she's like, yeah, and I'm gonna need my money, okay? It's my money and I want it now. So Vanessa's like, girl, what? Like, girl, like what? Like, my husband was borrowing money from you. So she's not believing her. She's like, girl, you was making up stories when we were kids. Like, nah. She's like, yeah, he brought the money. And they're like, well, he could have went down to the bank. And then she's like, no, the banks weren't checking for him like that because, you know, between his practice and the company, like, he was spread really thin, trying to juggle everything, right? So that wasn't really working from him. Sorry, you guys. I'm so thirsty. I've been talking so much. Especially as a teacher, I talk all the time. Of course, right? But anyway, back to what we're talking about. So, then she's like, so, you know, Vanessa is like, what could you have had with my husband? Like, why would he borrow money from you? Like, why would he care, like, what you're doing? And then she was like, well, me and him had something. And she's like, what could y'all have? What? She's like, we had a child. And she's like, girl, what? And she was like, yeah, the child is sitting right there. And so, something popped on my phone. Anyway, she was like, what? So they pointed to Bridget. That's the child. I said, ain't that some mess? So all this time, the King family thought that Bridget was their cousin, but really Bridget is their sibling, okay? So basically, Melanie had a whole affair. Melanie had a whole affair with Reginald, and Bridget was the product of that affair, okay? Mind you, this whole time, Melanie has made Bridget think that her father passed away in a car crash and was taking this girl down to the cemetery to visit this man every July, who was not really her father, okay? Because her father was Reggie King the whole time. So anyway, you know, the scandals get popping now. So this time, Vanessa is pissed. Excuse me. So then she goes to Yvette, and she's like, girl, did you know your brother was doing all this? And she's like, nah, girl, Reggie loved you. He loved you. And so then the mom, she walking around the house with her bottle and her glass, and she threw, which is understandable, right? And she kicked everybody out the house, and she fired Bridget from the company, even though she was treating this girl like her niece this whole time. But now she's her husband's illegitimate baby, so she is not checking for her. Okay, so then she goes up to Dana, and Dana's like, hey, like, can we at least, discuss, like, August gets to be in charge of the company, like, why, it should be me, da-da-da. And then she's like, did you know your dad, owed somebody $10 million, and you were CFO, you were keeping the books? And he was like, well, he must have been cooking the books because I never saw this. And she was like, it's your fault, and blamed Dana. I was like, poor Dana. But anyway, Dana's like, I'm not taking that responsibility. And then, so you see Bridget and Melanie outside talking, and I mean, not Bridget, I'm sorry, Yvette and Melanie outside talking, and Yvette was like, girl, why you coming to town doing all this? And, oh, I told you, you should have quit Reggie a long time ago. So Yvette really did know about this affair this whole time. And then she was like, I'm out of it, I am Switzerland. And Melanie's like, oh no, girl, you in it and we in it together. So then they're outside talking, and then August was looking on her phone and realizing that the attorney for her Aunt Melanie was the ex-boyfriend. So August had an ex-boyfriend from, I guess he was from high school or somebody. And I'm like, who checking for people from high school? But anyway, and she was kind of been jealous looking at his social media. You know how we do, y'all. And because she thought he would marry her, and she married something like basic Susie Homemaker girl, according to her. So anyway, but she realized like that's the attorney for her aunt, and she thought that, I think his name was Calvin, that he had been texting her to like just give condolences, but really he was like, you owe this money, right? So anyway, I think she went and met with him in like San Francisco, looked like. And so fast forward, then we see the family go to like the lawyer's office, I believe, and Bridget and Melanie is there and all that. And so they're trying to reach a settlement. No, before that, the family is at the dinner table trying to figure out how they can, get to this $10 million, and should they sell their stock? Should they sell, properties? What can they do? And can they budget? And then you see Dana and August getting to it about how the dad made August, in charge and not Dana. And then there's really interesting scene that I enjoyed and would love to explore with everybody further is because Dana is a little person, okay? And I hope I'm using the right terminology. And so he said, Dad only chose you because he could see you. Like, Dad could never look me in my eye, but he could look you in the eye. And so that's why he chose you. And so the mom's like, oh, don't say that. Like, your dad loved you just the same. But, I wonder how many little people feel like people aren't really seeing them because they are not seeing them for who they are because they can't look them in the eye. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So anyway, they get to arguing. And then, so back to, they're at the lawyer's office trying to settle. The family's like, okay, we could do $5 million and settle that for that. And the lawyer's like, no, it's 10, not 5. And so then they're like, okay, we can do 5 million. And then once we go public in 2 years, the aunt can also have access to our IPO and all that. And so they're like, So then Melanie is like, okay, I'm really looking to settle. Like, I don't want like this to go on any further. Like, we're family, we need to work it out. So then Vanessa's like, no, like over my dead body. Oh, but Melanie also said, I want Bridget to get her job back. Because remember, Vanessa fired her and all that. And so then Vanessa's like, no, over my dead body. Like, no, I'm not giving this illegitimate child a job back and all this. And so she's like, we can fight it out in court, like, try me. And so Melanie's like, do you really want all your dirty laundry aired out in court? We're family, we're sisters. And she's like, that's a Sister Sledge song, okay? And, that was one of the famous lines from the previews, right? So then, fast forward, and you see Bridget and August hanging out at Bridget's house, and Bridget was painting really, really nice, beautiful paintings. And they're kind of like sisters. I mean, they are sisters, right? But they were already kind of like sisters before they knew they were sisters, if that makes sense. So anyway, they go there, they taking wine, each have wine bottles, taking it to the head. Okay, been there, done that, back in the college days, y'all. But anyway, so they're like, okay, we got to figure this out. Like, how can we, get the family together? And earlier, the kids were all talking about how, like, the dad would really, like, give Bridget money and really, like, loved Bridget. But they didn't realize it was because that was his daughter, right? So anyway, fast forward to the end. I don't think I missed anything. If I did, let me know in the comments. But anywho, at the end, everybody goes down to the lunch, First, it's Vanessa and August. And then Melanie walks in, and then Melanie's like, oh, hell no. And Vanessa's like, girl, I'm not sitting down eating with her. And so then August is like, no, we got to work this out. Come on. So everybody comes and sits down. Everybody, basically, from the family came. And to talk it all out. And so, they've made like a little bit of progress. And then, the mom is hurt. Like, before I get through this scene, like, I do want to go back to the earlier scene where the mom was, eating all the cakes and ice creams and drinking wine and going through it in the bed. She was going through it. And, because she was hurt and feels like her husband had all these secrets, and her August came up there like, Mom, you're going to be fine. You're going to get through this. And she's like, you don't even be eating like this. And she's like, I used to do that. Like, before I go on stage, I would eat, and throw it all up before I do a scene. So the mom is really torn, like, in this place where she's not even torn, really. She's just so hurt that her husband had a baby outside the marriage that she's not even seeing, like, dang, this is my niece or my stepdaughter now. She's, like, just over it, okay? She's not trying to make amends, which is understandable, right? So anyway, back to the end. And so then Vanessa's trying to get some kind of understanding from Melanie. So she's like, when did this happen? So then Melanie was like, girl, remember when Reggie invited you to go down to Jamaica, but you were sick, and then you went and got with Dennis, and he invited me to come study, and one thing led to another thing and another thing, and then you came back and you were done with Dennis, and then Reggie was checking for you, but by that time I was already pregnant, but he wasn't checking for me. It was too late for me to say something, and yada, yada, yada. And so then it's like, okay, looks like we're kind of making progress. And then Vanessa was like, wait, was there any other times? And then Vanessa started, she started clicking in her mind. She started clicking. She started putting two and two and two together, okay? She's like, wait a minute, what about Obama's inauguration? She's like, wait a minute, what about when he had to give you a ride home when you were drunk? Wait, when y'all got lost at the Lake Arrowhead together? Wait a minute, what about when y'all did this and this together? Like, she started putting together different times that they happen to be together, okay? And so now she's realizing, oh, they've been doing this the whole time, okay? And so then Melanie was kind of like she could not answer. Okay. She's like, she's a little dumbfounded. Like, so you could tell, like, yeah, this was a long affair. This is not a one and done. Especially if she didn't give this man $10 million. Like, of course, like, they have some kind of investment in each other. Like, don't y'all think? So then that's when it really goes bad. And Vanessa is really over it. Like, I don't see her coming back from that one, but who knows, right? And then they go outside, and Bridget's like, nah, Mom, like, come on, get it together, Mom. Like, you caused this. And she's like, August, like, come on, girl. And August like, we gonna need time, Bridget. Like, I don't know. Because you can tell August is also loyal to her mom. At the same time, she already was bonded with Bridget. And so, and August is trying to do a good job of not looking at Bridget any different. Like, Bridget is still family no matter what now. So she's not trying to treat Bridget any different, but the mom is the one like, no, she's over Bridget because she's illegitimate to her now. Which is sad because that was her family anyway. So anyway, but I mean, I get it. So then Melanie's like, August, you need to really like talk to your mom, and you guys need to pay me back because you don't know, like, your dad was not the person you think he was, girl. And then they left, and then August gets like one of them mysterious calls on the phone, like, hey, you better pay me your dad's money next week, same time. And when people be calling you trying to, do something crazy, look like one of them Scream movies or something to me. But anyway, so that was pretty much it. I don't think I missed any other major scenes. Yvette, she was funny. She was like, let's not sweat out our edges when one of the scenes where they were arguing. So she's gonna be definitely one of the funny like characters on the show, and she had good like things she said, like when she said a bad bitch never look back. I said, okay, we down. But no, she was super funny. And if I didn't already say, shout out to all the actresses and writers, producers on the show. You guys were all live tweeting during the show, and that was really fun interacting with you guys. If I said it already, y'all, I'm sorry, forgive me, but I just said it again. I'm tired. Like I said, I'm a teacher. This is like our second day back to work, so I'm tired. But anyway, as far as Kings of Napa goes, let me know what y'all thought of the show. If you plan to keep watching, I definitely plan to keep watching. I'm excited for the show. Keep reviewing. Remain consistent. Let me know what you guys think the second episode will be like. Do you think Vanessa will try to reconcile, and at least with Bridget, maybe not with Melanie? Do you think it's going to just be more tension building up? Do you think they'll get this $10 million together? Let me know what you guys thought of the show. Let's talk about it. Let's discuss. I love to hear other point of views. Just don't get too crazy in my comments, okay? But now, please like, subscribe, comment, and talk to you guys soon. Good night.